All right, so get this. We're talking about Guyana.
Guyana.
Yeah, you might be thinking Guyana, where's that?
Right.
But you're going to be hearing a lot more about them soon, I think.
Yeah, it's a small South American country that is exploding onto the scene.
They're becoming a huge oil producer.
Huge.
And we are diving deep into what that means.
It's incredible how quickly Guyana has gone from like virtually unknown to pumping out tons of crude.
Yeah, so let's set the stage here.
Okay.
We've got Exxon Mobile, a company I think we're all familiar with.
For sure.
And they are reporting a massive 60% jump
60%
in oil production in Guyana just this past year.
Wow.
That number came straight from their CFO, Kathy Michaels, during their latest earnings call. 60%. That's not just growth. That's a full-on oil rush.
Yeah, and what's fascinating is this isn't just some lucky break for Exxon Mobile. This is all part of like a bigger plan. They're seeing record production in other areas too, like the Permian Basin in the U.S., and they just made a major acquisition of Pioneer Natural Resources.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
To like solidify their position there.
Yeah, exactly.
So they're really playing the long game.
Definitely.
And they're winning.
Winning.
Okay, but let's zoom back in on Guyana for a second.
Okay.
What does this 60% production jump look like on the ground?
Yeah.
Like how much oil are we talking about?
So Guyana hit an all-time high production record in September.
Okay.
Around 660,000 barrels of oil per day.
Wow.
That's a huge leap for a country that just started producing oil a few years ago.
660,000 barrels a day.
A day?
That's enough to make anyone sit up and take notice.
Yeah.
But I remember reading about a dip in production back in July.
Oh, yeah.
What was that all about?
So there was a temporary shutdown of the Liza projects, which are like the main source of Guyana's oil production right now.
Got it.
They were offline, so Exxon Mobil could connect gas pipeline as part of Guyana's gas-to-energy project. It's just a reminder that this oil boom is just one piece of a much bigger development plan for the country.
So we're seeing this incredible surge in oil production. But Exxon Mobil isn't going it alone, right?
Yeah.
Who else is involved in this Guyanese oil bonanza?
So Exxon Mobil is operating in an area called the Stabroek Block, which is this massive offshore oil field.
Got it.
They're working alongside partners Hess and CNOOC.
Okay.
All three companies have been reporting fantastic results. And they've collectively committed over $50 billion to developing the oil reserves in the Stabroek Block.
That's a staggering amount of money.
It is.
It sounds like they're betting big on Guyana's future.
Huge bet.
What does all this investment in production actually mean for Guyana?
Yeah.
Where is this oil boom headed?
Well, projections show Guyana's production capacity could hit like a mind-blowing 1.3 million barrels per day by 2027 or even more.
Wow.
That kind of output would make Guyana like a major player on the global energy stage.
Wow. From a country I could barely find on a map to a potential energy powerhouse.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing.
That's quite a transformation.
Yeah.
But before we get too carried away with Guyana's future, there's another piece of this puzzle we need to talk about.
Right.
Exxon Mobil is currently in talks with the Guyanese government about a brand new petroleum agreement.
You're talking about the shallow water block S8.
Yes.
Yeah.
This new agreement would cover a section of Guyana's waters known as the shallow water block S8.
Right.
It was awarded to Exxon Mobil after the country held its first ever offshore oil auction.
Pretty big deal.
So a new agreement, a new area for exploration.
Yeah.
This sounds like it could have major implications.
That's for sure for both Guyana and Exxon Mobil.
Absolutely. We're talking about a whole new frontier for oil exploration and production in Guyana.
Right.
It could be a game changer.
Yeah, it really could.
All right, so we've got Guyana, this small nation, suddenly thrust into the spotlight with a massive oil discovery. We've got Exxon Mobil, a global energy giant. Making bold moves and reaping huge rewards.
Huge.
And we've got this new agreement on the horizon that could rewrite the rules of the game.
Yeah, where do we go from here?
That's where things get really interesting.
Okay.
This new agreement will shape how Guyana manages its newfound oil wealth.
All right.
And what it means for its people.
Big implications.
There's a lot at stake.
Yeah, for sure, a lot at stake.
We left off talking about this new petroleum agreement
Yeah.
that's being hammered out between Exxon Mobil and the Guyanese government. This deal covers a new area called the Shallow Water Block S8.
Yeah.
A potential treasure trove of oil waiting to be explored.
Big potential.
It feels like we're on the edge of like a whole new chapter in Guyana's oil saga.
It really does, yeah. This agreement could completely reshape the landscape of Guyana's oil industry.
Okay.
But it's not just about finding more oil.
Right.
The real story here is how this agreement could impact the lives of the Guyanese people.
That's what I find so fascinating about this whole situation.
Yeah.
We're not just talking about numbers and barrels of oil. We're talking about like the future of an entire nation.
Right.
So what are the big things to watch for in this new agreement?
Yeah.
What's really at stake here?
Well, think of it like a high-stakes negotiation.
Okay.
On one side, you've got Exxon Mobile, a global powerhouse, looking to maximize its profits and expand its operations.
Right.
On the other side, you've got the Guyanese government trying to secure the best possible deal for its people.
Make sure they actually benefit from this sudden oil wealth.
Exactly.
So it's a balancing act.
Yeah.
Trying to attract investment and expertise while ensuring that the profits from this oil boom actually trickle down to the people who need it most.
Exactly. And the terms of this new agreement will determine how that balance is struck.
Oh.
Things like royalty rates,
Okay.
the percentage of profits Guyana receives from the oil extracted, tax structures, how ExxonMobil will be taxed on its earnings,
Right.
and local content requirements.
Yep.
The extent to which ExxonMobil will be required to hire Guyanese workers
Got it.
and use Guyanese goods and services.
Okay.
All of these factors are going to be fiercely negotiated.
It sounds incredibly complex.
It is.
What are some of the potential outcomes here?
Yeah.
What's the best case scenario for Guyana?
Okay.
And what are the potential pitfalls they need to avoid?
Well, in a perfect world, this agreement would usher in a new era of prosperity for Guyana.
Right.
Imagine a scenario where oil revenues are used to fund education,
Okay.
build modern infrastructure, improve healthcare,
Yeah.
and create a more diversified and resilient economy.
So they could use this oil wealth to not just get rich,
Yeah,
but to build a better future for generations to come.
precisely. But there's a flip side to this coin.
Okay.
We've all heard about the resource curse,
Right.
where countries rich in natural resources like oil
Okay.
end up worse off
Because,
because of corruption, mismanagement, environmental damage.
oh, right, it's like that saying, money can't buy happiness.
Yeah.
Sometimes it seems like a sudden influx of wealth can actually create more problems than it solves.
That's the danger Guyana needs to navigate.
Yeah.
If the oil wealth isn't managed transparently and responsibly,
Right.
it could fuel inequality, social unrest, environmental degradation.
So they need to be very careful.
Very careful to avoid falling into that trap.
Okay, so let's say they manage to strike a fair deal with Exxon Mobile,
All right.
one that maximizes the benefits for Guyana.
Okay.
What happens next? How do they actually turn this oil money into tangible improvements
Yeah.
for the lives of everyday Guyanese?
That's $1 million question, isn't it?
Yeah.
Guyana has a unique opportunity here.
Right.
They've already set up a sovereign wealth fund to manage the oil revenue,
Okay.
which is a good start.
Uh-huh.
But the real challenge lies in using that money wisely,
Okay.
investing in long-term sustainable development rather than short-term gains.
So what would that look like in practice?
Yeah.
Give me some concrete examples of how this oil money could be used to create a better future for Guyana.
Well, for starters, education is key.
Okay.
Investing in quality education and skills training
Mm-hmm.
would empower the next generation of Guyanese
Yeah.
to participate in the new economy and benefit from the oil boom.
Okay.
They could build world-class universities, vocational schools, training programs
Wow.
to equip people with the skills they need to succeed.
In industries like
In industries like engineering technology, renewable energy.
that makes sense.
Yeah.
It's about giving people the tools they need to build their own futures,
Yes,
not just relying on handouts.
right.
What else is on the list?
Infrastructure is another critical area.
Okay.
Think about modernizing transportation networks,
Okay.
building reliable energy grids, developing sustainable housing.
Uh-huh.
These are all investments that would improve the quality of life
Right.
for millions of Guyanese
Okay.
and attract further investment from around the world.
So it's not just about flashy projects.
No.
It's about laying the groundwork for long-term sustainable growth.
Exactly.
What about healthcare?
Yeah, surely that's a priority.
Absolutely. Imagine building state-of-the-art hospitals,
Okay.
improving access to quality healthcare in rural communities, investing in preventative care and public health initiatives.
Right.
A healthy population is a productive population,
Makes sense.
and that's essential for Guyana's long-term prosperity.
This is all starting to paint a picture of like a very different Guyana,
Yeah.
a modern, prosperous nation
Yeah.
where everyone has the opportunity to thrive.
That's the goal.
But I have to ask, Are there any risks associated with becoming so reliant on oil?
Oh, for sure.
What if the price of oil crashes?
Yeah.
Or global demand shifts away from fossil fuels?
That's a crucial point. Overdependence on oil is a huge risk.
Okay.
That's why diversifying the economy is so important.
Oh.
Guyana has incredible potential in other sectors, like ecotourism, agriculture, renewable energy.
Right.
Imagine harnessing the power of the sun and wind to create a sustainable energy future for Guyana.
Now, that would be a truly remarkable transformation.
It would.
Going from an oil-dependent nation to a leader in renewable energy.
Yeah, it's a big goal, but it's achievable.
It's certainly within the realm of possibility.
It is. But achieving that vision requires careful planning, strategic investment, and a commitment to long-term sustainable development.
Okay, so we've talked about the potential benefits for Guyana.
Right.
Education, infrastructure, healthcare diversification.
Yeah.
But what about Exxon Mobile?
Okay.
What are their responsibilities in all of this? Are they just in it for the profit?
Right.
Or do they have a role to play in helping Guyana achieve its development goals?
That's a great question, and one that's often debated.
Yeah.
Exxon Mobile is a for-profit company.
Right.
So their primary objective is to generate returns for their shareholders.
Okay.
But they also have a responsibility to operate ethically and sustainably.
Right.
Especially in a country like Guyana where the stakes are so high.
Yeah.
So it's not just about extracting oil and making money.
No.
It's about being a responsible corporate citizen
Exactly.
and contributing to the well-being of the communities where they operate.
And that responsibility goes beyond just following environmental regulations.
Okay.
It's about investing in local communities, supporting social development programs,
Right.
and working collaboratively with the government and civil society
To make sure.
to ensure that the benefits of the oil industry are shared widely.
So it sounds like Exxon Mobil's role in Guyana's future
Yeah.
is much more complex than just being an oil producer.
Right. It's a complex relationship.
They have the potential to be a partner in development,
They do.
but only if they choose to embrace that responsibility.
Right. Their actions in the coming years will be closely scrutinized.
I bet.
They have a chance to set a new standard for responsible oil development,
Okay.
one that prioritizes sustainability, community engagement, and shared prosperity.
It's almost like they're at a crossroads.
They are.
They can choose to be part of the solution,
Yeah.
helping Guyana avoid the pitfalls of the resource curse
Right.
and build a brighter future.
Uh-huh.
Or they can focus solely on profits
Yeah.
and risk becoming part of the problem.
It's a choice that will have far-reaching consequences,
Wow.
not just for Exxon Mobil and Guyana, but for the entire global oil industry.
Really?
It's a story that's still being written.
Yeah.
And the next chapter is going to be fascinating to watch.
I'm even more eager to see how this all unfolds.
Yeah, me too. But I think it's important to acknowledge the human dimension of this story.
Right.
We've been talking a lot about economics and development, but what about the everyday lives of the Guyanese people?
Right. How is this oil boom impacting them on a personal level?
That's a crucial question,
Yeah.
and one that often gets overlooked in the grand narrative of oil wealth and national development.
Okay.
The reality is that the impact of an oil boom on a nation's people can be incredibly complex and multifaceted.
So it's not a simple answer.
No, it's not. For some, it brings opportunity and prosperity, while for others, it can lead to displacement, social unrest, and a sense of being left behind.
So it's not just about the money.
Right.
It's about how this sudden influx of wealth is reshaping communities.
Exactly.
Changing social dynamics and impacting people's lives in ways that are both positive and negative.
Precisely. And understanding those nuances is essential
Yeah.
if we want to truly grasp the full implications of Guyana's oil doom.
Well, I definitely feel like we've only scratched the surface here.
We have. There's so much more to explore and understand.
There is. And that's where our deep dive continues. So we've been talking about this incredible oil boom in Guyana, Exxon Mobil's role, and this balancing act of managing this newfound wealth.
Right.
But I keep coming back to the human side of this story.
It's easy to get caught up in the big picture.
Right.
But at the end of the day, it's about people's lives.
Yeah. How is this impacting the Guyanese people?
Right. Are they benefited?
Are their communities being left behind?
Yeah. Are there cultural shifts happening
Yeah, because of all of this.
as a result of this economic transformation?
It's a mixed bag, right?
Yeah, as you might expect.
Some Guyanese are seeing some incredible opportunities.
Oh, absolutely.
New industries, jobs.
Yeah.
A sense of optimism about the future.
Yeah, there's a lot of excitement.
I can imagine.
Yeah.
It must feel like anything is possible when your country suddenly strikes oil.
Yeah, but you mentioned it's not all positive.
But what are some of the downsides?
One of the biggest concerns is inequality.
Okay.
If the benefits of this oil boom aren't distributed fairly, it could create a bigger gap between the rich and the poor.
So some people are riding the wave,
Yeah,
while others are being left behind.
unfortunately, that's a risk.
What can be done to make sure that the benefits of this oil wealth are shared more equitably?
Well, transparency is key.
Okay.
The government needs to be open about how it's managing the oil revenue.
Right.
And make sure it's being invested in ways that benefit all Guyanese.
Not just a select few.
Not just a select few.
No shady backroom deals or
No.
secret Swiss bank accounts.
Exactly. It's about accountability.
Okay.
Making sure that the money is being used for its intended purpose,
Which is?
improving the lives of all citizens.
What else can be done to address this inequality?
Investing in education and job training is crucial. Give people the skills they need to participate in the new economy.
So they can share in the prosperity.
Exactly. It's not just about handing out money.
Right.
It's about empowering people to create their own opportunities.
I like that. It's about investing in human capital,
Yeah.
which is the most valuable resource
Oh, value.
any country has.
For sure.
I'm also curious about the social and cultural impacts.
Yeah,
Is this changing the fabric of Guyanese society?
absolutely. Rapid economic development always brings social and cultural shifts.
Right.
We're seeing new industries emerge,
Okay.
which is attracting people from different parts of the country and even from abroad.
So it's changing the demographics.
Yeah, and leading to new social dynamics.
Are there any concerns about losing traditional values?
That's a valid concern.
Yeah.
It's important for Guyana to find a balance
Okay.
between embracing these new opportunities
Right.
and preserving its unique cultural heritage.
So it's not just about economic progress.
Yeah.
It's about aligning that progress
Mm-hmm.
with the values of the Guyanese people.
Exactly. Finding a path to development that is both sustainable and culturally sensitive.
It sounds like managing an oil boom is so much more complex than just drilling wells and counting profits.
It is much more complex.
It's this whole set of social, cultural, environmental challenges.
It's a delicate balancing act.
We've covered a lot of ground today.
We have.
We've explored a lot.
Yeah.
Economics, politics, potential benefits, and pitfalls of Guyana's oil boom.
It's a fascinating story.
What does the future hold for Guyana?
It's hard to say for certain,
Yeah.
but Guyana is at a crossroads. The choices they make now will determine their fate.
Whether this oil boom becomes a blessing or a curse.
Exactly.
What can we as informed citizens do to support Guyana?
Stay engaged.
Okay.
Keep learning about Guyana. Follow the developments. Support organizations working to promote responsible and sustainable development.
Great advice. Knowledge is power.
It is.
The more we understand about this, the better equipped we'll be to make informed choices.
And advocate for positive change.
Well, that brings us to the end of our deep dive
It does.
into Guyana's oil boom.
Yeah.
We hope this episode has given you a new perspective
A new perspective on this incredible nation.
at the cusp of transformation.
Thanks for joining us.
Until next time. Stay curious.